is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love that can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk, oh yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a wisdom and a knowing, a loving and the truth. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Just stay until it shows. I will pray and I won't move till I know, oh, that I walk in the love of God. For the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere. See it everywhere, feel it everywhere, and I know in my heart, yes, the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere. I can see it everywhere, I can feel it everywhere, and I know in my heart, yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love that can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk, oh yes, I walk in the love of God. I walk in the love of God. Yes, I walk in the love of God. In the love of God.
Good morning again, and welcome to Unity of Kent. Unity of Kent is a welcoming congregation. We invite all ages, races, creeds, colors, and lifestyles to join us on the path to spiritual discovery. We promote a philosophy of practical spirituality based on the teachings of unity and the new thought principles. We believe in each person's spiritual authority and know that by applying spiritual principles to our lives, we create and experience more good for ourselves and for the world. This morning we have a guest speaker, Reverend Rose Studer. Reverend Rose is the president of Unity of Kent Board. She's a certified virtues facilitator, certified addictions counselor, life and career coach, quarterly women's workshop facilitator, licensed religious science minister, was a prayer chaplain at Unity of Minneapolis. Whew. And on top of all that, in her spare time, she loves baseball, great music, and theater. Reverend Rose will now open the service with prayer.
So let's just move from the busyness of this day into the love in our hearts, moving into a peaceful place, an openness, a forthrightness, and a place of serenity, opening ourselves to more of the truth of who we really are, sons and daughters of the divine. We move into this service with even more openness in our hearts and our minds to move forward in our thinking, in our thoughts, in our mind, where everything starts. We just open ourselves to this and so much more. And so it is.
I will be gentle with myself. I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself. I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself. I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment, being born each moment, being born each moment.
So today, our virtue is foresighted. Foresight is the ability to assess past experience, present conditions, and then make assumptions about future requirements. Someone who is foresighted is able to predict the unfoldment of circumstances in light of both what is already known and that which is unknown. Attributes of foresight include intuition, vision, deduction, and spontaneous principles. And the affirmations today are: I am foresighted, I have clear vision, I trust my intuition, and I am able to see future outcomes. So our announcements today are, again, to invite you to come on Tuesdays, join us on Zoom at 11 a.m. for the prayer circle with Reverend Patty Becker. And again on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. for the Spirit Talk. The Spirit Talk is just a time to have a conversation about your insights, your questions, concerns, whatever you would like to discuss with Patty Becker that's a good time to join in Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. for the Spirit Talk. And also I would like to thank everyone for your support and your continuing to tithe to the church at this time. And just keep it coming, because we still need the funds to keep the church running. So I will now read the daily word. The daily word today is love. And believe me, with everything that's going on right now, we need lots more love. I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. It has been said that the world needs more love. The truth is that all the love the world could ever need is already present and everywhere, because God is love and God is present everywhere. Created in God's image, I'm divine love in human expression. I know that love is much more than a positive feeling. Divine love is the energy of oneness itself. As I remain centered in divine love, I know oneness in God with all people, including those who are dear to me and those I've never met. Divine love helps me see good everywhere and in everyone. I look beyond conflict and limitation and find the good that is always mine to discover. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. John 4:7. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this service here on this chilly Washington morning. I had to get out my wool socks and put them on this morning. I was so cold. So we are just having a great day with some rain today, refreshing everything. So we are going to move into our prayer covering our prayer intentions, covering your prayer intentions too. And we will just rub our hands together here to bring healing energy into our hands and use words of faith to activate these prayers. So we just send out these prayers knowing that our hearts are letting go of what is not the truth as we move into this place of serenity, healing, and love, turning towards healing and love for ourselves first, and then out to the people requesting prayer, out into our city, to our people who are peacefully demonstrating for justice, for our astronauts who are exploring space and working in their explorations for our greatest good. And we just know in this time that our thoughts are God's thoughts, and that's where healing begins. In the mind, knowing that God is in everything, in everyone. And so we just move forward with peace, love, healing, compassion, and move into a place of serenity, knowing that our good is here for everyone, through everyone. God is expressing the highest and best. And so we give thanks for the highest and best in each of our situations today and every day. We are thankful for our leaders, for our ministers who are leading their flocks wherever they are, and become peaceful, compassionate, empathetic, knowing that wherever God is, all is well and everything is right. So I just release this prayer into the law, knowing that it is complete and perfect. I let go and let God do its perfect work through each and every one of us. And so it is. And so I let it be. Amen.
I have faith in myself, knowing Spirit guides me, trusting myself and Spirit's call. God's mighty power lives and moves inside me. I cannot fear, I cannot fall. God lives in me. God moves through me. God lives in me. Raises me higher. Spirit in me brings the strength to forgive. Spirit in me fills my heart. Spirit in me brings the courage to love, courage to love, and be loved as we are. God lives in me. God moves through me. God lives in me. God raises me higher. When I'm drowning in doubt, I will turn within me. Infinite mind is one with mine. From fear to freedom, Spirit's love will guide me. I am full
Thanks, Leo. It's so wonderful how all the affirmations and daily words and music join in with the talks, and these things are prepared long before anybody knows what the talk is going to be. So I'm really grateful for that. We are going to talk a little bit today about forgiveness and compassion. And with all of the things that are going on in our society, just in the past week, it's like a stack of things piling up, the pandemic and the rioting. And then we had a launch yesterday, which was really beautiful. But it's just, there are so many things happening. It's like things are speeding up all over the world. And so our hearts go out towards empathy and compassion for all the people that are involved in this, the people who are experiencing the pain of the pandemic and the pain of watching the prejudice and discrimination that has haunted us for so many years. So I am going to do a couple readings first, and the daily word love was really beautiful today, and I'm going to read from the virtue card of love. We do a lot of work with the virtues, and this is the one entitled Love. Love is at the center of our being. It is the vital force that gives us energy and direction. It connects one heart with another. Love is irresistible attraction and affection for a person, a place, an idea, or even for life itself. Love is cherishing ourselves and others, treating others with tenderness. Love thrives on acceptance and appreciation. It has the power to heal. It calls us to continually hone ourselves while releasing the need to control or make someone in our image. Nurtured by commitment and seasoned by kindness, love is our greatest gift. 1 Corinthians 13:7 reads, love is patient, love is kind. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And in the practice of love, we allow ourselves to connect deeply, connect ourselves wholeheartedly, show love through our acts of kindness, accept and appreciate the ones we love, do the work on ourselves that love requires, and cherish the love of our life. So, interestingly enough, we're going to talk about compassion and forgiveness and love today. And I always start my services with a question. What are you willing to let God do through you today? That might be something to think about more than just today, eh? So I don't know if any of you online get the notices from tut.com, Notes from the Universe. I know I do, and I'm a bit psychic, and I've been accused of being a little psychedelic as well, but I don't really pay attention to that second part, okay? So I get these notes from the universe, and I got one the other day, literally from tut.com, Notes from the Universe, and it said, courageous is the soul, Rose, who adventures into time and space to learn of their divinity. And you'll notice that these notes are always addressed to me personally, so I know that they are meant directly for me. And honestly, sometimes I don't totally understand them, and I need to think about them for a while. So then the next note that I got said, there are really only two conditions of the human experience: very, very happy, or about to become very, very happy. Which are you today? I'm both. Signed, the universe. Next note from the universe the next day said, there are 2 steps for changing the entire world. Step 1 for changing the entire world is falling in love with it as it already is. Step 2, it's exactly the same for changing yourself. Signed, the universe. And then the day after that comes another one. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is that you've passed the audition. Yeehaw! You've earned your wings. You're a certified bona fide being of light, capable of transcending all fears and manifesting all dreams. From here on out, you have but to dwell upon what you want, and I must bring it forth. The bad news is that this message was supposed to have reached you eons and eons ago. Sorry, sorry. Signed, the universe. So we ask ourselves, are we walking in peace, compassion, satisfaction, truth, courage, dignity, grace, gratitude, acceptance, hope, fairness, diligence, kindness, openness, respect, wisdom, strength, optimism, contentment, truthfulness, trustworthiness, and tolerance. Also thankfulness and gratitude. So, from a reading demonstrating the law from the principles of a successful living, as man unfolds in his mentality, the law automatically reacts to it. The way to work is to begin right where we are, and through constantly applying ourselves to the truth, we gradually increase in wisdom and understanding. For this way alone will good results be obtained. If, don't you love it when people start with an if? If day by day we have a greater understanding and a clearer concept, if daily we are realizing more of truth and applying it in our actions, then we are on the right path, and eventually we shall create our freedom. Notice it says we shall create. It is a wonderful experiment and a great adventure to make conscious use of the law, to feel that we can plant an idea in mind and see it gradually take form. We know that everything begins in the mind. Planting ideas and visions and intentions in your mind, not always the easiest thing in the world to do. Maya Angelou said, if you are ready for it, it's too easy and nothing will work unless you do. We have a little mix up in my paperwork today, so I have to reorganize this. Okay. So, being a spiritual being, living in this physical world is not easy. So, no one said it would be, but it certainly can be easier with some great tools and a simple plan of action. Side note here, just to let you know, I'm a recovering Catholic. My first minister outside of Catholicism, Richard in Prussia, who at age 50 left being a scientist at the Los Alamos labs in Los Alamos, New Mexico, to become a minister. He said something from the pulpit that first day that I sat in that church. He said, there is a simple, effective way to live in this life efficiently and effectively by doing just these 4 things. Are you ready? Show up on time, take what you get, be grateful for what you got. Wow, that's a ticket I would invest in. And then, of course, being a Virgo who constantly analyzes everything, I had to make sense of this. Finally figured out what it meant metaphysically, of course, because I had to do that. Show up. Let's take the first one. Show up. To me, that's being alive, awake, aware, enthusiastic. When you show up and not find all the excuses in the world not to even begin the trip in order to show up, just showing up. Show up on time. Being here, being fully present. Be prepared through prayer and meditation and a consistent spiritual practice. Take what you get. Learn to receive. And for us givers and servers, this can be a challenge. Being grateful for what you got represents gratitude, receptivity, and openness to the truth. Wow, pretty simple. Almost too simple, eh? So how do we live this? That answer is pretty simple too. We live through the experiences that show up for us every minute of every day. You notice I said they show up for us, not to us. Doing the best with what we have, taking it one step at a time, one moment at a time. No one ever asks us for more than that, except ourselves. We can be our worst critics, right? Theodore Roosevelt probably came the closest to truth when he said, do what you can with what you have where you are. Brilliant. That is how we can be fully present in each moment and live freely, truthfully, joyfully, and peacefully. By not living with our own expectations, but living in an expectancy of our good. I see that as a huge difference in life. When we have expectations, we are looking for something, which is basically saying we don't have it. But if we live in expectancy of our good, we're living in the knowing that God is our supply and that God is everywhere in everything. So one of the great people of unity said there is good in the world and we should have it. Hopefully we believe this, and that's why we're here. One of the reasons we're here is to walk each other home, hand in hand, through whatever comes. So you see, before you came into this incarnation, you set up a plan for your awakening. Oops, forgot that, did we? Not a problem. Most of us did and don't want to take responsibility for admitting we did it. Guess what I set up? I set up to come here and be a change agent. Darn it, who wants to be that? Everybody asks for change, but when it's brought to them, they hate it and it makes everyone so uncomfortable. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. Ever try being a change agent in a corporation, in your neighborhood, in an organization, in a family? Not the most fun I've ever had, and I made an entire career of it. I find it a bit, more than tedious at times. Nonetheless, I'm here to create more opportunities for change, first for myself and then for others. Just like on the plane, when they tell you to administer the air to yourself first and then the children, they know what they're talking about. You are always responsible for yourself first and keeping yourself filled to overflowing before you have enough of something there to share with others. So I know you're wondering that Let me see here. We are at the good news portion here. Everything that happens to you is part of the plan for your awakening that you set up for yourself, that I got to come here and remind you of, including those challenging events that force you to shift out of your inertia and time-limiting behavior patterns. Less than good news, because there is no bad news, right? It's all good. So you called out for growth and the depth in your soul. You prayed to be released from your burdens and to discover and express your gifts. From deep within your pain, you called for peace. From deep within your pain, you called for the courage and the freedom to be yourself, your true self, your true unencumbered self. Being in a place of peace may be the goal in our life, but to get there, we have to be willing to engage in the process, not push it away when we're feeling angry, sad, mad, most feelings that we have. Truth is, most of us are looking for a rocket ship to heaven. We want to go from feeling pain to feeling ecstasy without having to change our ride or our venue. So I'm going to talk about a scenario. I'll refer to my rides on buses. Y'all know at some point we all have to change buses, right? If you're changing buses, you're moving ahead. We learn, well, some of us learn that it's better to take one step in good faith than to try to leapfrog to step 26 on our first attempt at change. But we're Americans, and more is better and faster is the perfection. So I'll bet there are some of us sitting right here, right now, who have tried to jump the 26 all at one time. We get some skin knees. I know I have. So speaking of the buses we've been on in our life, so far, let me share a few of the buses I've been on so you get the point of how we're moving forward. Many times quicker than we actually planned, and being catapulted wasn't really in my plan. We wouldn't want to stagnate, you know, or let it be too easy. You know, most of us want things instantly, we Americans, but sometimes quicker is not always better. You know how typically a bus goes from point A to point B, and sometimes you get on the bus and then realize it's not going where you planned. Do you get off and search for another bus that does not feel as uncomfortable? Or do you stay on that bus and hope it gets you where you wanted to go? Gotta tell you, I've ridden a lot of buses. I actually came into this world and started on forgiveness, bus 101, and trust me, that is how God first taught me what forgiveness was all about. And it took me years to find my way back to this bus again. So the first bus I got on was being born, the youngest of 18 children bus, in the middle of a farm in Iowa. I should have known this was going to be a lovely ride. Yes, I did say 18. Wish I would have been advised not to sign up for that one. Nobody up there warns you about what to do or what not to do, what bus to take and which one not to take. Trust me, you find your way. Then the next, learning opportunity. And I talked about this. I call these learning opportunities AFLOs, another flippin' learning opportunity. And so the next learning opportunity bus was the not talking till I was 5 years old bus. It was frustrating and lonely. I had lots of people older than me who all thought that they were my parents, and I never knew who was in charge. Then on to the attending Catholic schools for 12 years bus. What was I thinking? Then to moving off the farm, actually running away from the farm and going to college, I guess. That's the next bus. To get married at 18 bus. to being told I had 6 months to live because I had thyroid cancer when I was 6 months pregnant, bus, at age 19, to being the first person in the world to drink liquid iodized radiation other than the rats at Mayo Clinic, bus, to wandering diligently away from Catholicism into the Protestant aspects, Wesleyan Methodist, Baptist, Buddhist, religious science, Unitarian Universalist, Unity. I forgot to tell you that strangely enough, you can be on multiple buses, to having children, bus, to getting a divorce, bus, to having cancer again, bus, to raising my children alone for 21 years, working 2 and 3 jobs and going to college full time, bus. Having cancer again, bus. Obviously, I had trouble staying off some of these buses. To getting married again, bus, after being single 21 years. So you'll notice that I rode some of these buses multiple times, which meant I wasn't paying close enough attention to the first ride, or there was just a lot more to learn. To being rear-ended by a semi who was traveling at full speed, and I was at a dead stop, bus. To having a traumatic brain injury and spinal cord surgery, being completely paralyzed and only being able to move my eyes, bus. To my husband of 3 months leaving me when the doctor gave him the diagnosis that I would never walk or talk again, bus. Another divorce, bus. To praying and meditating my way out of the paralysis because all I could do was think. I wasn't talking, I was thinking. And remember, everything starts in the mind. And finally, COVID-19 bus, which I'm still riding occasionally when I am not taking responsibility and paying attention to how much rest I need. You see, each of these buses that show up for us, offer us another flipping learning opportunity. They're an opportunity to release ourselves from past behaviors, past experiences, move from one transformation and transformative experience onto the next. That first forgiveness bus for me was avoid forgiveness, forgiveness in minute ways, forgiveness release, forgiveness transform, forgiveness transcend, forgiveness expand, forgive, enliven, forgiving body, mind, forgive and revitalize every cell of who I was. That was the first forgiveness bus. Problem is, there's a trick to changing buses. You know how we like to stay stuck in our stuff? And being a change agent, I've noticed changing from one bus to another seems to create fear, which is what keeps us stuck in the first place. And jumping off does create some discomfort if the bus is still moving before you try and get off. Trust me, I found this one out in person. So fear, you've all heard, FEAR stands for false evidence appearing real. So we live in that false evidence appearing real with our denial. We all have fear of change. And honestly, for some, and maybe for all of us, change is the one and only consistent thing in our life. It is for most people, which is why we may never get off the bus and we stay on the same schedule, on the same broken down bus, and on the same well-trodden road, repeating the same old patterns that may have worked for us once, but haven't worked for us in years. So let's look at how that happens, the getting stuck in our pain and fear. Do you remember a situation or a pain that you've suffered from the past? Whether it was your behavior that caused pain or someone else's behavior or words that caused you pain? Close your eyes and think about it for a minute. So as your eyes are closed, is there a story associated with that pain? With that story you have told yourself and maybe everybody else about that pain year after year? Honestly, you know, an emotion is scientifically proven to last only 1 minute and 42 seconds. Why then are we still feeling pain about it 35 years later? So let's look at how all this starts and continues in living our life. We may have a situation or a verbiage that we associate and experience connected to that pain. Maybe inflicted by our parents, a teacher, a partner, a friend. Every time we allow ourselves to have thoughts about it, we reintroduce the pain. Eventually, it forms a button and then a callus over the button until someone says something that pushes that button and the callus pops off and the pain is hemorrhaging out all over our life again. This should be how we know it's time to release the stuff around that, right? When the pain grows beyond our control to manage it, control it effectively, and we begin to experience less of everything, less joy, less happiness, less satisfaction, and less contentment in our lives that are supposed to be filled with the stuff of God. This pain is affecting not one area, but it begins to affect all the areas of our life, not just part of life. Now we may be feeling this pain that's repeated ourselves connected to other situations in our life, our relationships, our family, bleeding over into our jobs, into our health. It's infiltrated every part. We're saying, look at what they did to me, what they said about me. Look at all this stuff. And we wonder why we're hanging on to all of this. We hang on to it and re-experience the pain with our thoughts because we have allowed ourselves to get attached to it. Not to the emotion. That was over 1 minute and 42 seconds after it happened. Not to the verbiage. We are attached to the pain and negative feelings that we won't let go of because we don't want to let go of the story that goes with it. Maybe because in the story, we get to be the victim. And the perpetrator is the victimizer, the bad guy. So we are better than they are. We are attached to re-experiencing the suffering, and we have never been taught how to release it. So maybe up until now, we may have lived with some anger, revenge, hatred, or retaliation. So we don't have to forgive anyone or anything, including forgiving ourselves. We are all attached to something, some stuff, right? We're all attached to the stories and the stuff of the story, which by my own recollection tends to get embellished just a tad over the years. Okay, maybe more than just a tad. And metaphysics teaches us it isn't the stuff. It's how you deal with or don't deal with the stuff. It's how the stuff exists in your life. How long we choose to hang on to that stuff long after it is of any good use to us. How many of us need to let go of some stuff? Put your hands up. I'm right here with you. So we're attached to it. Guess what? You're the CEO of your stuff. You're responsible to manage it properly and take responsibility for its whereabouts and how you're functioning with it or how it's functioning you. It's true that stress that results from unforgiveness and not having compassion causes death for many people. I recently read a quote from Catherine Ponder, which says, "When you hold resentment toward another, you are bound to that person or condition by an emotional link that is stronger than steel, and forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and get free." Isabel Holland shares with us that as long as you don't forgive, who and whatever it is will occupy a rent-free space in your mind. So, another question. Are you willing to let go of the stuff that you have milling around in your mind? The people, the stories, the judgments and condemnations about all the others and about yourself, the guilt and shame. Are you ready to have freedom, peace, health, happiness, joy, and ease in living? If you are, then fear, pain, guilt, shame, suffering, and sacrifice are no longer an option for you. What is being free? Paul Ferrini says being free has nothing to do with leaving the body or leaving the earth. Being free means letting go of what isn't true. So as we open ourselves in prayer and meditation in our life to the guidance of these learning opportunities, every lesson asks you to open your heart and mind in a new way. And we are getting that old defense mechanisms and resistance to change. They're calling to be surrendered. So street by street and bus by bus, the territory claimed by fear opens us to love's embrace. So we are moving into making a shift and truly being yourself, which until now you just may have been covering up a bit, or maybe more than a bit. So let's talk about something that happens on a new bus ride. And let's call this one the Forgiveness Bus 101. Your mind formulates thoughts, and thoughts move the world. Wow. So in cooperating with your mind, you've already realized what your desire is, to let go of some stuff that's no longer serving you and is getting in your way. You start to investigate forgiveness, compassion, because that imprint on your mind and your heart that you have had brought you to a place of searching, investigating. This bus takes us to a place to honestly looking at the stuff and pain we have been attached to. Unforgiveness because we didn't know how or wouldn't see that we are not the only people who are suffering in this situation, in our pain. And on the new bus, compassion, forgiveness, and peace are what is actually being called for. So let us go to the virtue, compassion. I'm actually going to give you an opportunity to experience compassion. So let me read this first. Compassion, according to the virtues, is deep empathy for another who is suffering or living with misfortune. It is understanding and caring and a strong desire to ease their distress. Compassion flows freely from our hearts when we let go of judgments and seek to understand. Our compassionate presence helps people to know they are not alone. Sometimes they don't need us to fix anything. They only need to be heard with compassion so that they can connect to their own inner wisdom. We need our own compassion as much, if not even more, than others do. Whether a silent prayer or a gentle touch, compassion is a priceless gift. The Dalai Lama said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. We notice when someone is hurt or needs a friend in the practice of compassion. We feel empathy for our pain and the pain of others. We take time to reach out to those who need help. We care for others by listening deeply. We refrain from judging. We have compassion for ourselves. I'm thankful for the gift of compassion. It stirs my heart. So I'm going to have Eric bring up a compassion exercise. So this compassion is from an institute that I studied in Minneapolis. And if you can move it over to the left. Let's see here. So in this compassion exercise, what I want you to do is take a few moments. This can be done anywhere with anyone. And it's important to do all these 5 steps at once on the same situation or individual. So what I'd like you to do is think about a time when you suffered some pain or a person that you have an issue with. And I'll walk you through this compassion exercise. So raise your hand and let me know if you're ready to begin. If you have someone in mind. So we're going to put our attention on the person that we're thinking of. And silently say to ourselves, just like me, this person is seeking some happiness in their life. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. I'm looking for the 5th one. I can't see it here. Just like me, this person is learning about life. So this is a compassion exercise. If you're interested in it, just let me know and I will get it to you. And part of our talk today was about compassion and part about forgiveness. And I'm going to read the virtue for forgiveness. Forgiveness is overlooking mistakes and letting go of resentments. Forgiveness frees us from the needless pain of reliving a hurt over and over. Forgiveness doesn't make a wrong choice right. It brings the generosity of spirit to release it. Forgiveness can heal even the most grievous offense. It brings a blessed opportunity for a clean start. Expecting divine forgiveness transforms our hopeless guilt into resolve. Self-forgiveness moves us forward, ready to do things differently, with compassion for ourselves and faith that we can change. Forgiveness opens the door of hope. Robert Goddard said, resolve to be tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant with the weak and wrong. Sometime in your life, you will have been all of these. In the practice of forgiveness, we overlook mistakes. We free ourselves from pain and resentment. We are willing to heal the past. We find it in our hearts to give others another chance. We use guilt only as a signal for change. We accept divine redemption. We have the power to change for the better. I'm thankful for the gift of forgiveness. It lightens my spirit. So, the last question. Are you ready to step off the old bus that was familiar? Let go of the past and let go of re-experiencing the pain and the stuff, and step onto the ramp and sit down on a new bus and be on the way to a new joy-filled chapter of being your truest self. Look out. It might be a bumpy ride, or you may move through it with grace and ease. Your choice. Happy travels.
In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there's unspoken joy. Through the silence, there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that can never be said, and right here in this holy silence, I find God. I find God. I find God. I find myself.
Thank you, Leo. That was such a beautiful ending to our service. Now at the time in our service where we reach out for love offerings to support our church. And so we are accepting those love offerings at our website, virtually by PayPal or Givelify, or mailing them into the church. All of this is on our website, unityofkent.org. So please join me in expressing our offertory statement. Divine love, expressing as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. So we give thanks and prayer right now for everything that we are experiencing in this life. We're thankful for love, patience, thoughtfulness, empathy, cooperation, acceptance, moderation, charity, forgiveness, and compassion. And I give thanks for our perfect health, our perfect place in life. Releasing the shoulds and the have-tos and moving forward in peace and joy. And the willingness to experience that in every moment. I give thanks for each and every person that was on this service and all that were not on this service, knowing that they are safe, protected. I give thanks for the safety of our homes, for the gifts that we receive, all of us, for the breath that we take throughout the day and throughout the night in our sleep without even thinking about it. I give thanks for the joy that fills the heart of all who are willing to be open to moving into a deeper experience of their true self. Sons and daughters of the divine, we are here, we are safe, we have courage, and we're being noble through the pandemic and through each experience of our life. I am grateful, so grateful for all of this, grateful for all of this and more. And so I release this prayer into the law, knowing it is complete and in perfection at a perfect time and place. And that perfect time and place is right here, right now. And so I let God do its perfect work. Let go and let God do its perfect work in and around him through each of us. And so it is. And so I let it be. Amen. Thank you.
Feel free to sing along in your own homes. We can't hear each other, but join your voice in private and make beautiful music. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you, Leo. That was brilliant. Appreciate your music and for you being here with us. Thanks.
You're welcome.